Okay, so I'm gonna keep this one brief because I gotta get to bed here real quick, so I can get up early in the morning. Okay, so tonight's episode, it was a pretty decent episode. It wasn't a real nail biter, but it was interesting to see how things played out. Tonight, the challenge was interrogations. Everyone was being interrogated, and the other contestants had to tell whether or not that person was lying based on how they answered the questions. And my man Gabriel won that competition, which was great. So I gave him immunity, and I gave him another chance to get another clue. He gets a clue, figures it out like that. He got JR's clue, so now he knows that JR's relative is Lil Nas X. I'm not spoiling anything. That was put out tonight. I'm just going to say yes. He's got that one right. Also, they finally put it together that Hugo is Jimmy Carter's grandson. And I had predicted tonight that Monet was going to go home because, Gabriel was figuring out her clue, which is Saturday Night Live and Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I thought, well, they got to know who the African American guy on Curb Your Enthusiasm is. But apparently no one on this show ever watched that, so they didn't get that. And they set up Olivia to be the guesser, and she guessed wrong, which is a shame because I don't think anyone was ever going to guess who her celebrity relative was. Yeah, it was Jenny McCarthy. Here's the thing about Jenny McCarthy. The only thing she is famous for right now is being an anti-vaxxer. She thought that. I can't remember what vaccine it was. I think it was the polio vaccine. Caused autism, so people shouldn't get it. She's more famous than that, than any movie she's ever been, any TV show she's ever been. She used to be on MTV's, some show on MTV. And she was a Playboy bunny, which is what all the rabbit clues were about. But like I said, the thing that she's most famous for is being an anti-vaccination advocate. But they were never going to put a clue like that up on the wall. So Olivia had a good chance of winning because no one was ever going to pick her relative, which is what everyone said tonight. But once again, that's not how it always works out. And if you get picked to be a guesser, you got to be a good guesser. And she didn't ever seem to be catching on to clues or anything. Things were explained to her. And she could have stayed if she had picked the more obvious one, that Hugo is Jimmy Carter's grandson. She went with Carson, and they were wrong about that. They all thought that Carson is related to Jeff Gordon. She's not. She's related to some other race car driver. I'm not going to spoil too much. It's been hinted. That's what the clue is. We all know that. Who it is, I'm not going to spoil that, but I think people might catch on to that. Now, predictions for next week. Well, I think JR Hugo, unless they win a competition, they're probably going to go home. I think they're probably going to, do more with Carson to figure out what race car driver she's related to. Speaking of which, once again, I got to ask the question: what if they're related to more than one famous relative? Because tonight we had Olivia. She's related to Jenny McCarthy, who is cousin to Melinda McCarthy, from Bridesmaids and a shit ton of other movies. What if they had picked her by some chance? They had gotten some clue wrong. Oh, Melissa McCarthy. Because Olivia would be her first cousin once removed. But that didn't happen, and she's gone home. So we'll just have to see what happens next week. And what did you think about tonight's episode? Oh, yeah, I know that the previews for next week make it look like everyone's going to go after Chris. But once again, you can win immunity. And once again, they have to guess the right teen idol from the 1970s. Also, what was the advantage that Gabriel got? Remember, because he was supposed to win the competition, but also gets immunity, gets to pull a clue, which was a smart move on his part to pull JR's, because he figured Olivia's probably going to go home anyway. But what was the advantage that he gets? The only thing I can think of is they're going to tell him what he got right on his detective skills, but they didn't bring it up in this episode. All right, that's it.